Hi, my name is Selena Ortega, and this is Rotary Unscripted. So today we are joined by a revolutionary woman, not only because she was the first woman in the district, but she was also but but because in her active days she was also active with the youth and the RILA. She is a remarkable figure in the Rotary District 3780 Philippines. Known for her trailblazing spirit, her leadership has not only broken barriers, but also inspired many women to step into leadership roles. Her dedication and hard work have significantly contributed to fostering more inclusive and diverse Rotary community. So without further ado, let us welcome Tita Del. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day to everybody. My name is Delia Rarela Barcelona, but in Rotary, they call me Daboy, which is my nickname, has been my nickname since high school. So most everybody in Rotary would remember me by my nickname, Daboy. So that's me. I'm currently based in the US, but during my Rotary days were mainly in the Philippines.
Okay. So I just have a few questions for you, and then later we might be joined by our magical president, Mr. John Jabico. Okay, ready?
Mhm.
What was it like to join a group of all men?
It's almost unbelievable during those days. It wasn't easy, but it was also exciting. Those were exciting times. So maybe we need to put this in context because when I was recruited as a Rotarian, this was 1987, Polly. 37 years ago, you were not yet born.
Mm.
So this is really like historical in many ways because the Philippines sort of followed the path that was taken by a Rotary Club in California that challenged the constitution of Rotary, which was saying males only. And they won in the US Supreme Court. So this was 1987, Rotary Club of Duarte, California. And then for some reason, it was interesting that the District 3780, which is Quezon City, and the club, where I belong, where I was recruited to, the Rotary Club of New Manila Central, had the foresight to invite a woman, the first woman. During that time, sort of following the US, maybe because of our colonial path, we kind of follow everything that happens in the US. So I was recruited by my brother-in-law, who was already an active Rotarian at that time. And then there was another woman, Senator Nikki Cositeng, who was also invited. The interesting thing was like we were both invited on the same day, July 3, 1987. But I was inducted in the morning, which is our regular club meeting, and she was inducted at night. So you will see in some district Rotary records that we were the first two Rotarians, but they label me as the first one, having been inducted before Senator Nikki Cositeng. And then she became very active in politics, and I remained active in academia and Rotary. So whenever I was asked the question, what does it mean to be the first woman retired? And I said, it doesn't matter who's first. What matters is who lasts, because I really became very active in Rotary during my 10 years with the district.
Okay, next question. What were some of the biggest challenges you faced as the first woman in Rotary District 3780?
So I would say just like anything that's new in life, anything new can be sort of uncomfortable, unfamiliar. It could also be destabilizing. So I would say when I first joined and I was introduced to club meetings, district meetings, I was invited to speak here and there to really talk about what it means to be a woman in Rotary. I sensed some reaction from men. Sometimes those who don't even know that there is already a woman Rotarian would welcome me like, oh, are you a Rotarian, or are you with Inner Wheel? So I always sort of, or whoever is accompanying me or introducing me, always have to, no, she is the first woman Rotarian. So there was that kind of sort of
Like awkwardness?
Yes, kind of. It was strange to some Rotarians who have been used to just seeing men, in meetings and in all events. So the perception was kind of new, but as in the course of my active involvement, because this is my character, Polly. Whenever I do something and I commit to doing something, I give it my all. So I became so immersed in Rotary missions, its programs. I did a lot of things. I became basically I went through all the possible roles you can have in Rotary: secretary, uh incoming president, past president, club chair, etc., membership chair. So I got immersed and I got more and more invited in district events that eventually, I guess, they became familiar with me. They became comfortable with me. And towards the end of, not just towards the end, almost maybe a year after or 2 years after my induction, I was really welcomed by many. And it also, maybe I used my social skills, maybe because I have a background in sociology. I'm really used to dealing with all kinds of people, dealing with men and women. So I guess it helped me ease myself into this male dominated club or clubs.
Okay, next question. Can you share a particularly memorable or significant moment from your time in Rotary?
I have so many, but as I was reflecting on this question, I said, okay, what will be the highlight? So maybe I'll start off with really in my first 6 months, or maybe the first year I was inducted. A lot of clubs really got interested. Why did the Rotary Club of New Manila Central do this? Why did the district accept it? So I got invited. So I went as far as Davao. I got invited to clubs in Davao, in Zamboanga, in Luzon. And
Wow.
so it became for me really, really a significant moment in my Rotary life, because it really helped me sharpen what it really means to be one amongst them. So I would say that would be my kind of one of my first memorable. I cannot no longer recall exactly the number of clubs, the names of the clubs. I just know I got so many certificates, the plaques that they give you all kinds of things, right, when you speak before a club. So I would say that would be my first series of big moments, right, in my first year. And then as I became more and more involved in Rotary, I became more exposed to district level activities. And because I have been a professor in UP for decades, and I'm really used to working with young people. I have two young daughters at that time. I got interested in the Rotary Youth Leadership Program. And I was brought in for several summers to really run the RILA programs of Rotary in the district. So it gave me a new platform. I would talk Rotary, but I would talk to young people, which is really, it's something that really energizes anybody. And then, so that was, I would say, that was my second batch of, my 3 summers or 5 summers. I run RILA for the district and really dealing with all kinds of students, public schools, private schools. It was really an inviting all kinds of speakers, giving inspirational messages. I found that very exciting. And maybe, um, related to that would be my third sort of high moment in Rotary was as a result of that experience with Basic RILA, which is the standard program you have in any RILA for any club. I even developed what we called, and the district adopted it, the Advanced RILA program. It's almost like in academia, you have a master's program in RILA. And we chose the most promising attendees of the basic RILA to attend the advanced program. And it was like selected, the cream of the crop, so to speak. So to this day, I have friends in Rotary who remember that I was the one who introduced advanced RILA in District 3780. And so maybe the final high moment of my life in Rotary was 10 years after I've been involved in Rotary, I got recruited to the UN from UP, so that's another long story. But I was really touched when the entire district and almost all the presidents and district officers organized a farewell and send-off party for me, which was so heartwarming. Parang imagine mo comparing it to what I just said earlier. 10 years ago, they were uncertain. Why was I there? And then 10 years later, everyone was embracing me with warmth and really appreciation that they all went out of their way to organize a really
Aw,
heartwarming send-off party for me. So those are my high moments.
nice.
Mhm.
Okay, next question.
Mhm.
Looking back, what do you think Rotary members could have done to make the integration of female members smooth?
I would say many things. Because now, how many years has it been? 87, 37 plus years, I said, so 4 decades. I am totally impressed by the fact that not just in the Philippines, but in the world, there are now so many women Rotarians. And so many women have assumed positions of leadership, positions of responsibility. And dami ng club presidents. In fact, I was looking for one statistic. I think I have only 2020, I believe, the data in 2020. The women members of Rotary International globally has reached the almost 300,000,
Oh,
which is
wow.
23% of Rotarians in the world are now women.
Oh, wow.
Holly, that is so significant, right?
Yeah.
So your question is, what could we have done to sort of smoothen the entry of women? I would say maybe learn from lessons of the past. Uh, Give a lot of orientation. I have yet to see a not a manual, but a sort of a guidebook on what are the things you can do to really blend in women with men in Rotary. In fact, that's one of, I have mentioned this to your mom, I really would like to write a book about women in Rotary and really bring in all these lessons like and dami, just sensitizing. I think the word that I really want to emphasize is not just orientation, because we could give an orientation session, oh, what it means, what we can cite statistics, cite some figures here and there that convince people that women have been embraced by Rotary International. But sensitizing men, what does it mean to be one with you? And I'd like to quote, the president of Harvard University, the first woman president of Harvard University. I'm sort of taking it out a little bit out of Rotary. But when she became the first woman president of Harvard University, media and others, in academic circles would always interview and present her as the first woman president. And she said something like, I am not the woman president of Harvard. I am the president of Harvard. So I'm saying, so this kind of sensitization is like, I hope it gets to a point where we're no longer labeled as women Rotarians. We are Rotarians.
Hmm.
No distinction. So, and there's so many things that I could go into substantively to really sensitize, we have issues of equality, equity, being equal is not the same as being fair. I could have been taken in because, that's inclusiveness, and we all talk about inclusiveness and empowerment. But what does it mean to embrace me as part of you? To be sensitive to the fact that I can bring in new dimension, new perspectives that maybe men don't have. And I would say sensitization, it's like women by nature, we are more, I would say, I hope men don't dislike me for saying this, but we have a more emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Especially parents, I was a mother already when I became a Rotarian. So I know how it is to nurture. I know how it is to nurture young people. Ang women, meron tayong parang natural caring and
Very
softness
instinct.
to us that can balance the maleness. Of course, sometimes it's taken against us in a way that, oh, we're very soft, we're not as, kind of aggressive as the men, but the combination, I think, of men and women in Rotary, since after all, the world is composed of men and women. So it cannot be just men or women, can really complement each other. In fact, one of the things I didn't like, I would say, in the beginning of my exposure to Rotary was when again, don't dislike me for saying this, but there was a club that decided to do an all-women club. And my personal take on that is, why would we do that? We have just been inducted and admitted. Why would we swing the other way to create an all-women club? It's going against the principle of inclusiveness and empowerment. So those are some of the things. So sensitize men on what it means to be working hand in hand or side by side with women. Give more kind of orientation on the substance of equality, gender sensitiveness, gender equality, gender equity. And let's just highlight the fact, Polly, that even the UN, the General Assembly, has adopted the Sustainable Development Goals, of which SDG 5 is all about empowering women and girls globally. So if you take that global perspective, bring it down to country level, national level, bring it down to district level, bring it down to a club level, or even politically, bring it down to barangay level. So we have a role to play because we are part of society. We are one half of the world. We are one half of the Philippines. We are one half of the district and one half of every club, every community. So it's just fair to give us kind of the same platform as men would normally have it easy.
Thank you so much, Tita Del.
Mhm.
Okay, next question. What advice would you give to a woman who are considering joining Rotary today?
First of all, immerse yourself on what it means, what Rotary International stands for. Because that's one of the things that I did when I started. Fortunately, because I'm an academic, I like to read. I read so many things about the history, the vision, the mission, the programs of Rotary. So I became very knowledgeable. In fact, I would like to say with humility, I was more knowledgeable than a lot of the ones I encountered. So I really read a lot about what it means, what are the programs of Rotary. And the more I read about it, the more I was convinced this is really one of the best civic organizations in the world. I know we have so many, and everyone would say, one is better than the other, but I really believed in Rotary's mission. And at the time, the motto, we have an annual motto, right? For I really admired this notion of service above self. Service above self. The more I internalize it, the more I say, what does it mean to do service above self? I am already an accomplished professional at the time. What is it that I can give back to society, right? So my advice to women who are considering, by the way, you don't consider joining, you are invited, Polly. So this is the nice thing about Rotary. It's by invitation, which means there is a recognition of something that you can contribute. So when you are invited to join a Rotary club, take it as a really a humbling experience. With pride. It's an oxymoron, but like I'm saying, wow, you got invited, but don't get it into your head because it means a lot to be invited. You don't just want the name, the label. Oh, you're now one of them. What is it that you can bring into the table? And when I joined, I had to go through that self-reflection. What can I do? Anong magagawa ko for my club? And because my background is in communication, I even volunteered, I did the newsletters for the club. I got involved in the district news because it was a gift that I could easily do. I could write, I could produce, I don't mind taking notes of meetings, being a rapporteur in district conferences, like things that you can do easily, but it helped me also understand what Rotary is all about. So sabi nga noon, I was talking before with one district officer and he says, oh, some people don't like to be rapporteurs, but he said he likes to be a rapporteur because you understand the discussion more because you follow the conversations, right? And you write down notes and so it helps you. So again, just to know your purpose. I mean, I want to say this. If you're invited and you accept it, know your purpose. Why are you going there? It's not for the prestige only. It's prestigious for sure because they say, okay, Rotary is a kind of prestigious club, but it has a responsibility that go with it. So assess what you can give, what you can do, what you can contribute, and be true to it. Be a true Rotarian, not in name, but not just in spirit, but in action.
Okay, next question. Thank you so much, Tita Del.
Mhm.
How do you think the inclusion of women has changed the dynamics and culture of Rotary clubs?
A great deal, I would say. You know, last year, I was in the Philippines last year. I got invited by another district, District 3820, which includes 9 provinces in southern Luzon. And I saw how varied, how diverse the participants were. From 9 provinces. There were like probably 2,000 participants in this district event. I was asked to speak again about being a woman Rotarian and share my experiences. And I was saying to myself, my God, my role, my activeness in Rotary has been decades ago, but the same ideas that I was sharing was still resonating with a lot of those who were in the audience. I mean, because they were applauding for what I was saying. So I'm saying, okay, so relevant pa rin. So you remain relevant because you realize what it means to be a Rotarian. And again, not just a woman Rotarian, but a true-blooded Rotarian. So I think that culture has changed because the fact that 23% of Rotarians now are women, that's almost 1 in 4 Rotarians is a woman. So obviously there is now not just an acceptance of admission, but involvement. Because in that program I attended last year, and I haven't been to a major District 3780 event recently, so I can only speak about this one event I was part of last year. I would say the speakers were residents and district officials, several women. Almost every other part of the program was a woman speaking about, whether it's membership issues, whether it's one of those 7 areas of focus, whether it's resource mobilization, fundraising, advocacy. It was impressive. So that is an obvious sign that the culture has changed. And I hope it continues changing because we cannot ignore it. I'd like to say the train has moved, on. Get on the train. You don't want to be left behind. In fact, I can almost say if a club to this day has not considered, if any Rotary club to this day has not considered inviting a woman into its membership, I will feel sad for them because we can really do so many things hand in hand with everybody. So that's how I feel.
Okay. This is my last question, but Kuya John Jabigo also has some questions for you.
Sure.
So,
Mhm.
okay, what do you believe the biggest benefit of having a diverse membership in Rotary?
Quality of programs to begin with. You know, we know this in other realms of life, like if you have a single perspective on anything. I've been part of corporate organizations, so I know this. If you are, if you're only following one kind of perspective and you think you're right, in the end you realize it's very myopic, it's kind of limited. If you're inclusive and you invite opinions and comments and welcome discussions, conversations, it becomes more interesting. And in the end, it becomes a qualitative process, so of really getting different perspectives on things that we do. So for Rotary, that would be one major benefit I would highlight, is the fact that diversity brings in a multi-dimensional perspective on programming. So especially now, I think I really admire the areas of focus of Rotary. You have education, you have youth empowerment, you have climate change. All of this involve and affect women. So why can't we not be part of conversations around these topics and be part of actions that advance these kinds of programs. So I can also say that because my work in the UN was really with the United Nations Population Fund, and we do all kinds of programming around sexual and reproductive health of women, maternal health, and really empowerment of women and girls, and addressing gender-based violence. There's really a lot that can be said about what it is to advance an issue or to advocate for an issue. We need collective action. So the report that we just launched this year, and hopefully, as your mom suggested to me, I could speak about this State of the World Population Report at another time, is really talking about our lives are interwoven. We're all part of the same world. We're part of the same society. Men, women, youth, the transgenders, LGBTQ. The world is so diverse. We cannot ignore the fact that more and more the world is recognizing the fact that people are diverse. We have different kinds of backgrounds and profiles, orientations, and all that. So the more we embrace this diversity, the more we bring benefit to what we do. So collective action and collective movements and collective support, really being one and believing that we can work together, for me, is very powerful. So maybe my final kind of thought about being a woman, Rotarian, and being a Rotarian, even without the word woman, because I really have experienced Rotary in its fullest, is that it's I would use a phrase in the UN we call gender transformative approaches. This is parang bringing in women in Rotary has really created a lot of parang new perspectives for doing what we normally do in Rotary. If you were to do a medical mission, in any community, and you were just all men, just imagine you are just all men. Bring in the women who can talk to the mothers, who can talk to young girls about, their why did they drop out of school? Why do they have issues with their, with their sexual health or reproductive health, or what does it mean to be involved in relationships, socially, interpersonally? Don't you think that the women can really help in this regard more than men? So I'm just saying there are many ways to approach a program, and bringing us to all together can maybe go a long way. As we say, if you want to go fast, you can go alone, but if you want to go a long way, bring everybody on board.
Okay, so this is Kuya Jeboy's question. When you were invited to Rotary, why did you decide to join?
I got interested. Maybe, I failed to say this in the beginning, but this is a good moment to answer that question. President Jeboy, hi, how are you? Maybe by nature, I have a civic spirit because I like to help. This is my nature. My family, I come from a big family, and on our own, we do all kinds of outreach. Some of my sisters would say, on my birthday, I want to go to the home, the house, the home for the elderly. One time, we did an outreach for young girls, blind girls, in one institution. I've done all kinds of outreach work in my life, and maybe there was something that triggered that when I got invited. There was something in me that I know I can still do. I was busy in academia. I was a full professor. I was teaching. I was doing administration. I was the dean of the college. But I found time. When you like something, when you believe in something, you have a passion for something, you make time for it. And I got so interested and enthused and immersed in Rotary programs that, as I said earlier, I got into it. No question. They asked me to chair a district event. Sure. I'll make time. As soon as I leave UP, I'll drive to wherever the meeting is. I was active. I was on time. I paid my dues. In Rotary meetings, I was more regular than anybody else. I involved my daughters. They helped me do the newsletters weekly. Every Wednesday in the afternoon, I would say, okay, can we finish the newsletter by 6 o'clock because the meeting is at 7? So this is I guess that was it. There was something in me that said, yes, you are meant to do this. You can do this. And if you like it, go for it. And I did go for it, and I did go a long way.
Thank you so much, Tita Del. Thank you so much for letting me pick your brain.
Sure. I hope I shared enough insights to put together in your podcast that would be
Thank you
helpful to
so much.
others who may be considering in Rotary. So this is it. We're done.
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay.
Please
Yes.
like and subscribe to our podcast. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Polly. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much,
everyone.
Tita Del.
Bye.